I am sorry to my English compadres, or whatever you'd call English viewers, English friends. Hey, how's it going? And welcome to Whisky Wins with me, Stuart, and Jasper's here. So today we've got a different type of review from me. I've not done English whiskey before, so hopefully there's no prejudice in this, but this is the English company. It's from Norfolk in England, where I used to work actually, round about there. I'm not sure actually where it's located in Norfolk, but I used to fly out from Norfolk for work. It's a wine cask matured second fill Cabernet Sauvignon. It was filled in 2014, bottled in 2020, 6-year-old, or just 5-year-old, just under the 6-year-old mark there. There's 1507 bottles, 1,507 bottles. No peat by the looks of things here. It says phenol level NA, and it's 46% ABV, small batch. So I've got a little bit of information about the English company, because I don't know too much about them, and I've not really done much research on them, to be honest. But it seems like it's the first, it's saying here it's the first English distillery for over 100 years. So that's pretty cool. They've obviously kind of pioneered the way for things like Bimber, Cotswolds and all that. If they're actually, I'm sure they've got actual distilleries. But yeah, so the first distillery for 100 years. I'm just trying to see where it's located. So the last known English whiskey distilled at Lea Valley, later to become home of the 2012 London Olympics, and St George's Distillery, designed, planned. Just try to see where it is. St George's Distillery. Anyway, they were originally going to be a microbrewery, but customs and excise wouldn't consider anything smaller than 1,800 litre stills, which is larger than some in Scotland. So in a field we owned down by the River Thek, the footings were dug and the building work began. I'm just trying to see where is it? Does it say on the back? St George's Distillery, Harling Road, Roudham, wherever that is. I'm not really good with geography. But anyway, it's not really about the, I suppose you need to have a little bit of insight about the distillery and that, but it's not really about that, it's about the whiskey and how it tastes, so we'll get right down to it. The nose, yeah, it's fruity. Red fruits for sure. Red berries, kind of raspberries. They seem a bit dehydrated. Something you get in a kind of cereal. So let's go for that, like a cereal with red dried fruits in it. Dehydrated strawberries, dehydrated raspberries, dehydrated little red berries, red currants. It's a little woody on the nose. It's a little prickly as well in the nose, which is surprising for the 46% ABV. A little hint of youthfulness from it. But quite sweet, quite tame, a little bit creamy. There's a little bit of a smoke. Very, very subtle. I'm trying to think if there's anything else there. Possibly some... This cat. Can you not give me peace for 2 minutes just to do a video? Yeah, there's possibly some like vinegar element. Like a cider vinegar or something like that. The palate. The palate's quite dry, and just getting all this cat hair away. It is rather dry, quite bitter and sour as well. Yeah, sour cherries. I'm trying to get more from it. It's quite, yeah, it's quite sprightly, the youthful element is coming through for sure. A little, not nippy, but a little spicy on the tongue, almost reminiscent of like a Highland spice, that kind of maybe pepper. This is like white pepper. Not a lot of fruit on the palate. Like I said, it's quite sour, quite bitter, and quite drying, but not really fruity, unfortunately. It's a little lacking. Maybe that custard powder you get. I'm just trying to see if it must be a finish. I don't think it's fully matured in wine cask. It says wine cask matured. But yeah, a kind of custard powder. Definitely, it sounds bad saying this to describe a whiskey, but that cheap custard powder you get, and it's not to say that the whiskey's cheap or anything like that, it's just that's what the taste is like. The tasting notes on the back say wonderfully mellow whiskey. I totally agree with that. It is very mellow. It's not too offensive other than the youthfulness of it. It can be a little bit overbearing, but it's not offensive at all. There's hints of apple, it says, rhubarb and custard sweets on the tongue give a slight tingle. Yeah, so I definitely get that tingle reaction, that tingle feeling. But not a lot else, unfortunately. It's just quite, it's just like a atypical whiskey almost. If it doesn't seem like there's much character to it. I think you can tell it's not Scottish. Well, I feel like I can tell. It's just more, yeah, it's just very youthful. Or maybe not, you can't tell it's Scottish, but you can tell it's quite young. You can tell it's not very refined. It just seems a little, yeah, lacking again, unfortunately. The finish is nice. Finish is probably medium. A lot of creamy flavours coming through. Once that bitter drying element dissipates, you get a nice creamy, long custard, quite smooth, velvety. That's the feeling I'm getting in my mouth in the finish. A little bit of wood in the finish, but not much. Just like I said, main component here is that nice custard taste, which is really nice, really potent in the finish, quite lovely in the palate. But that's all that's really going on for me, is custard. I mean, even the tasting notes on the back of this bottle doesn't really give much away. It doesn't really kind of inspire that this is going to be a great whiskey. It's just hints of apple, rhubarb and custard sweets on the tongue give it a slight tingle. And the mellow whiskey, it's not really descriptive, and maybe they didn't want to put any preconceptions into my head or into the customer's head, but the tasting notes even on itself seem a little lacking. So going into this, reading the back of it, what are you looking for? Just apple and rhubarb and custard. So yeah, unfortunately a little bit disappointing. I got this from Somerton Whisky Club, and so I paid £50 for this essentially. I think at RRP is about there, about 56, 46, round about there. And it's the first English whiskey I've owned. It's not the first English whiskey I've had. I've had some from Bimber, good stuff that I've enjoyed. There's other English whiskey, I believe, Cotswolds, that I've had that have been quite good. But at the moment, this isn't that great. I'm probably only a quarter away down it, but I've tried it time and time again, trying to find more, trying to appreciate it. But unfortunately, I just can't. So would I buy it again at £50? Nah, I don't think I would. Give me it for £30. Give me it for £30 then maybe. I know that's completely unrealistic, but I wouldn't buy it again at £50. So I don't think it's worth it. Like I said, I wouldn't buy it again. Don't think it's worth it. And would I recommend it? I always think I would recommend every whiskey because we need to try various whiskies and varieties of spice of life. you want to try as many as possible, but I don't even think I would recommend it. I'm going to double check and make sure like I'm not just being total pessimistic about this and send out a lot of more samples, see what people think about it. But for me, it's just very flat and it doesn't really reveal much, or it's not revealed much so far. So unfortunately, it's a whiskey bin. I am sorry to my English compadres or whatever you call English viewers, English friends, but this is just not for me. It's not my type of whiskey, and it's not something I'd drink. Maybe someone else can appreciate it more, but not me, unfortunately. So sorry for the negative review. I hate doing them, but thanks for watching. I've been Stuart. This has been Whisky Wins. I'll see you later.